We sing Shabbat, we sing Shalom. We sing Shabbat, we sing Shalom. I am your. Yeah, they need to link it. What happened to your on-clouds? Your on-clouds. Your on-clouds. You got on-clouds? Okay. I'm just kidding. Did you hear it? We're going to take contest. Will this be a larger crowd next week? I heard next week could be a big day. Hi guys. Good Shabbat. Look at this guy, our reigning champion. Oh, it's 5:46. We ready, guys? Just waiting for our. What's next week? What's going on next Friday? Something happening? 2 games? Danielle, Dr. Danielle Eisen, we need you. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want you to know before we start our Shabbat service, Dr. Levin and I had arguably the greatest game of horse in the history of basketball, lasting approximately 35 minutes to declare the winner of horse. Anyways, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It's my great honor to welcome Dr. Danielle Eisen. She is with us for a year as she is halfway through her fellowship in neuro-ophthalmology, and we owe her a mazel tov. She just passed her boards, which are very hard, but...
Thank you, Rabbi Adam.
No, Rabbi Adam, fine. Anyways,
we're on the bima.
We're on the bima. Anyways, but our husband, Josh, is in Mobile, and he's a professor of psychology at Southern Alabama.
Yeah, University of Southern Alabama.
And we hope one day maybe we can get him back up here. He's on a 10-year track, but she has an incredible voice, a wonderful presence, and she's been filling in for Kenner Whitner. And sing with us
Thank
Welcome
you.
Shabbat.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you all for coming, too. It's such a good turnout. We can all be together on Christmas. We can celebrate together.
Okay, here we go. Ready? We're
Shabbat
gonna welcome our
shalom.
brothers and sisters.
How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hinde mato umanai shaverachim gam yachad. Hinde mato umanai shaverachim gam yachad. Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum, Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum, Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum, Shalom Aleichem, Salam Aleikum. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. Hinde mato umanai shaverachim gam yachad. Hinde mato umanai shaverachim gam yachad.
We turn to page 124, 124, and please join me in this reading. We enter the sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured. A beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayers. We turn to page 120 as we light our Shabbat candles. You got it right there, pre-lit. Pre-lit. Let's use the,
You want me to do it?
yeah, use that.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik der shel Shabbat.
For those who are able, we rise together for Kiddush 123. COVID Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hichilanu. Zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'charta v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shamat kodshecha v'yahava v'ratzon in chatzanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. We continue the top of page 127. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand and wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we actively care nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. We continue with Psalm 95, L'chuner Adonai 130.
L'chuner Adonai l'Adonai nariya l'tzur yishedu. L'chuner Adonai l'Adonai nariya l'tzur yishedu. Nikan mafanav betotah mizmirot nariya lo. L'chuner Adonai Adonai nariya l'tzur yishedu. Nikan mafanav betotah mizmirot nariya lo. Ki el gadol Adonai u'melech gadol al kol Elohim asher b'yado mekerei haaretz v'toavot harim lo. Asher lo hayam v'hu asahu v'yavesh et yadav yatzaru ki hu Eloheinu v'anachnu amerito v'tzoniyato.
We continue with Lechado D 138.
Lechado di likrat kala pende Shabbat nekavela. Lechado di likrat kala pende Shabbat nekavela. Shavor v'zachor b'dibur echad yishmi'anu el hamyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad Hashem al tiferet ve'litila lechado di likrat kala pende Shabbat nekavela. Lechado di likrat kala pende Shabbat nekavela. Likrat Shabbat lechoven elcha kihim ekor averach amirosh mikadam nesucha sof ma'asa v'machshavat lila. Lechado di likrat kala pende Shabbat nekavela. Lechado di likrat kala pende Shabbat nekavela. Hitoreri kiva ore kumi ori uri shir daveri kevod Adonai alayich nikla. Lechado di likrat kala pende Shabbat nekavela. Lechado di likrat kala pende
We rise together to greet Shabbat HaMelkah.
We face the door.
Boi v'shalom, ateret bala gam besimcha, uvetzola tochemune am segula. Boi chala, lechadodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekavela, lechadodi likrat kala, pene Shabbat nekavela.
We continue the bottom of page 145. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. We continue with our Chetzi Kaddish right there at the top of page 144.
Yitkadal ve'yitkadal shemei rabah, v'halimati v'akirtei, v'yamlich machutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayerecho beit Yisrael, bagala, bagala, uv'izman karim, v'meru, amen. Yehishmer Abba Mevorach, Leolam Leome Hamaya, Yitzbarach, Yitzbarach v'yishtabach, Yitzbar v'yitromam, Yitnaseh, Yitzhadar, Yitzhala, Yitzhala, Shemer Kudesha, Brichu, Le'elamin Kobrakata, V'shirata, Tushbechata v'nachamata, Damir and Biama, V'meru, Amen.
For those who are able, we rise together, 146. Please be seated. We continue the top of page 149, and please join me. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, for whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way in which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise you, Adonai, our God, for whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim, on the next page.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta Torah mitzvot chukim mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu B'shokfeinu v'kumeinu Nasiach b'chukacha V'nismach b'nivrei Toratacha U'b'mitzvotacha Le'olam vad Ki heim chayeinu V'yorach yameinu U'vahem negei Yomam v'layla Yavantecha tasir mimanu li'olamim Baruch atah Adonai Ohav amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Shem Kevod Malechuto Leolam Leolam Va'ed.
The top of page 154.
V'yavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha v'chol nafshecha v'chol me'otacha v'hayu advarim ha'ela asher nochim et zavecha hayom al levavecha v'shiratam levanacha v'nivartam v'shivtecha v'veitacha v'vlaftecha v'terech v'shokbecha v'kumecha v'kshartam leot ayatacha v'hayuletotafot b'neinecha v'ktavtam amuzizot beitacha v'sharecha Leman tizkeru v'asitam et kol mitzvotai v'tam kedoshim lo'echam Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti atam me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem.
We continue together at the bottom of page 157. In a world torn by violence and pain, in a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. And please join me. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages, your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be at one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. Our song of redemption and freedom, our Michamocha, the top of page 158.
Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha nedar b'kodesh, Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha nedar b'kodesh, Nora tehilot, Hosef Allah, Nora tehilot, Kadashashir Pugeolim, Lishimka Swatayam, Yakad Gulam Hodu, Himlikuve Hameru, Adonai Yimlo, Leolam Bad, Yai Dai 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 Dai, Yai Dai 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 Dai. Yai dai 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 dai. Yai dai 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 dai.
We continue the top of page 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Our Hashkivenu right there at the top of page 160.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomeinu l'chaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomeinu l'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim.
The top of page 163. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. The top of page 162.
V'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasot et ha-Shabbat, Lidorotam, Berit olam, Berit olam, B'nei ofen b'nei Yisrael, Oti le'olam, B'nei ofen b'nei Yisrael, Oti le'olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai, et hashamayim v'ataretz, ufayom hashvi shavat v'yinafash.
For those who are able, we rise together for our tefillah.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'imotenu v'imotenu, Elohe Avraham, Elohe Yitzhak, Elohe Yaakov, Elohe Sarah, Elohe Rivka, Elohe Rachel, V'Leah, El HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanara, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot, Omevi Gula Lifnei Bnei Ham, L'ma'an Shema B'Yahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Makin, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magid Avraham V'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Kadosh V'Shimcha Kadosh, U'Kdoshim V'chol Yom Yihalelucha Selah, Baruch Atah Adonai, El HaKadosh.
Please be seated. The top of page 173. Please join me. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. We continue on the next page with Ritzeh.
Ritzeh Adonai Eloheinu, B'yamecha Yisrael, U'tefilatam b'yava tekabel, U'tehiliratzon, Tamid avodat
Continue to the top of page 179, and please join me. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praise are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. We continue at the top of page 178.
Shalom. Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata melech adon lecho hashalom. Ki ata melech adon lecho hashalom. V'tov b'einecha levarech atam Yisrael v'chol et yufrosha b'shalom lecha. Baruch atah Adonai oseh hashalom.
Take a few moments for our own reflections.
Son imre fri, son imre fri, like your lefanacha, Adonai tzuri v'goli, son imre fri, son imre fri. Adonai tzuri v'goli. Oh, may the words of my mouth, the meditation of my heart be acceptable before you, oh Lord, my rock and my redeemer. Oseh shalom b'mrama, uyaseh shalom aleinu, v'yal kol Yisrael, v'yimeru, v'yimeru. Amen.
At this moment in our service, we take time to think of those in our community, those in need of healing of body and spirit. We think of Linda Applebaum, Margaret Bell, Harold Seitlin, Deborah Chargois, Karen Edwards, Hannah Fox, Belinda Gammon, Edward Goldberg, Josie Hatfield, Sissy Held and Evelyn Held, Donald and Beta Himmel, Corey Kessler, Bart Kolber, Jerry Lapidus, Wayne Lewis, Marlene Meyerson, Jeffrey Muss, Leslie Simon, Chrissy St. Charles, Brenda Weinstein, Joan Weisberg, and Carol Wright. For those with us this evening, if you are thinking of a loved one, a friend, someone who means so much to you and who wish to share a name out loud, we invite you to do so as my eyes meet yours. For those names mentioned out loud and for those names that are still in our hearts, we continue with our Misha Berach, our prayer for healing, the middle part of 371.
Mekor bracha l'imotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishavera imotenu, mekor habracha liavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Good Shabbos, everybody. I'm going to ask this question every year. And for those who get it right, it's written in the Talmud. You don't have to fast Yom Kippur. Why do Jews eat Chinese food on Christmas? That's the first answer, because every other store is closed. Okay. What was the other one? Every year I say this tradition. Yeah, you're getting close, Andrew. You're getting close, but this is really important. Okay, sort of. As my Midrash teacher, Louis Barth, would say, gold star for Faye Levin over there. So, this is really important. I think we have one New Yorker here, sort of, right? You're a New Yorker, okay, with that accent. But when Jews came to this country and eventually settled in, they weren't quite yet in Midtown or the Upper West Side, but in the mean streets of the Lower East Side, which was Shtetl City, Delancey Street. There's an incredible movie, Crossing Delancey Street. But nevertheless, as Faye said, Eastern European, the Jewish experience, somewhat different than Birmingham. When they came here, they wanted to feel cosmopolitan, and so it wasn't that they were the only restaurant open. I'm sure there's plenty of restaurants open in New York on Christmas Day. It's that they felt welcomed. And most importantly, the reason is that they didn't have a lot of milk with meat in their diet, and they came up with the greatest rhyme. It was something called safe treif. Yes, a kreplach was similar to the egg roll, but if they didn't know what it was, no one needed to know about it, okay? So that is why Jews historically eat Chinese food on Christmas Day. Faye, you're exempt from fasting on Yom Kippur. It's found in a minor tractate in the Jerusalem Talmud. But I guess that's the first teaching. And the second thing that I want to say, Dr. Eisen has done a beautiful job filling in for us tonight. We have no accompaniment. Paul right now, it's Yontif for him. He's at, I imagine, Mountain Brook Baptist. And Jeff McLennan, I say Paul 2.0, that's what I call him. He's, Donald Ware's that way at IPC, celebrating Christmas over there. But I want to thank so many of our staff. They would be working tonight, but many of them celebrate Christmas. And in the spirit of the historical religious ethos of Birmingham, I think we're obligated to wish them a Merry Christmas. They've done such a great job for the past couple of years with the ebb and flow of staff changes, and they make this place shine for over 140 years. They continue the tradition, and we hope they're having a great time with their family. And the other Torah teaching that I want to talk about tonight is, last week we concluded Parshat, the last Parshat in the book of Genesis, and it's a bit of a paradox. Bereshit, in its most basic Hebrew, means in the beginning. It's the creation of the Jewish people. But as we conclude the book of Genesis, It's not a creation, rather we have two funerals of Jacob and then Joseph. So perhaps it's a book about the essence of the life cycle. And once we turn the page and we get to Parshat Shemot, the first parashah of the book of Exodus, it's a recap of the names. And we learn from the tradition that it's Erev Shabbat, and these are the names of Bnei Yisrael, the children of Israel, who came to Mitzrayim, who came to Egypt, Im Yaakov, with Jacob, each of them and their household. And for a story that's about to begin, the trials and tribulations of the Israelites in slavery, Rashi has a really important drash, especially as it complements to what we as a Temple family experienced the past 6 days. Speaking on behalf of this, and these are the names of Bnei Yisrael. Although Adonai counted them in their lifetime by their actual names, and this is towards the end of Genesis in chapter 46, God counted them again after their death to let us know, and here's the teaching, how precious they are to God, because they were likened to the stars, which God takes out from beyond the horizon and brings in all of them by their numbers, by their Shem, by their name. As it's taught in the book of Isaiah, who takes out their hosts by number, all of them God calls by name. Last week, Temple Emanu-El, we had a rough week with regard to life cycles. I was here Friday, which concluded 4 funerals in 2 days. And then on Saturday morning, we found out about the passing of Donald Herman. May his memory forever be a blessing. And when I'm thinking about this, what we experienced, about death, about remembrance, about our obligation to think of those who are no longer here, tonight's anniversary is also the death of one of the greatest sages of our teaching, and Moses Maimonides. And it's during this time when we want to challenge God, we want to rationalize our suffering, we want to be angry with our suffering, and why would such a thing happen to this temple and to all of humanity whenever we experience such difficulty. Maimonides would not be the best at pastoral care tomorrow because he was such a metaphysical rabbi. But there's one thing I think we can process from his teaching and what we learned from this Torah portion about the importance of remembrance, is that Maimonides rejects the notion of besheret. I know from weddings we like to say if two souls aren't destined together, but if things are meant to be, or if God has a plan for everyone, this completely invalidates the Torah. That the Torah is supposed to be our blueprint for life. It's supposed to teach us how to live, how to respond, how to pivot, and how to understand our imperfections. So he rejects this. So death happens because, unfortunately, it happens. And I know, again, for Maimonides, that's his rational way of thinking of it, but for us, we can be saddened, we can be angry, and we have to accept that. But I think Maimonides would nail it perfectly for us tonight, that last week so many members of the community showed up for one another, whether virtually or in person when we could, and we were here again on Monday. And regardless of the amount of passings that we had, so many people came up to me and said, I had a rough week, but my response was, I guess I'm doing my job as a rabbi, but the people who had a rough week are those who lost a loved one. So in the spirit of Shemot, and for those who are here remembering a yortzeit, I think we all have to think of them, all of our loved ones who are no longer here, that they are the stars. And every year we honor someone who passed away, and the way that we keep their memories alive is by Yesh Kochavim. These are the stars of heaven. So a book that talks about the trials and tribulations of the Jewish people first begins with our obligation to remember those who are no longer here. Think about that when we celebrate Passover this spring. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
For those who are able, we rise together for Aleinu 500. 86.
Alleluia shabbat ladon hakol, la tet gedula liotzer breshir, shalos sonikir haratzot, velos amanuk mishpachot adama, shalos am chalkenu kaham, vigor alenu kapamonam, ve'anachnu korim, umishtachavim modim, livnei malach malachei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'namar v'chaya Adonai lemelech kol haaretz, vayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo
And I thought a perfect way, before we recite our Yortzeit list in our Morris Kaddish, we turn to the bottom of page 595, the idea of remembrance and remembering the stars, Yesh Chochavim. Dr. Eisen.
There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light. Long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we love. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time on earth is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us as we live our days. These are the ways we remember, as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. Yesh kochavim she'omram magia arza, rak asher hem atzmam avdu beinam. Yesh anashim tziv zichram meir, kasher hem atzmam einam od betocheinu. Horodei la'amavikim bechashkat halayil, heim shemarim la'adam at taderet, heim shemarim la'adam at taderet.
On this Shabbat, on this Parshat Shemot, we recall the Yortzeits of Amy Allenberg, Diana Burke, Sterling Berman, Sydney Binder, Mark Block, Margaret Castell, Ida Cohen, Jeanette K. Cohn, Etta T. Cooper, Marvin Elkin, Ike Z. Engel, Maurice Cohn Erdrich Sr., Tilly T. Feinfeld, Fernfeld, Lillian Ginsberg, Anya Golger, Ferd Kahn Hardwood, Jean Held, Phyllis Herman, Teresa E. Carpiles, Isidore Lassen, Hannah Lazarus, Sonia Rosen Lazarus, Luis Aylin Levin, Louis Lefkoff, Tilly Lishkoff, Moise Lishkoff, Alice Munn Meisner, Bertha Mendel, Saul Morris, Leah D. Newfield, Abraham Isaac Odrezin, Rima Opsmer, Katie Pariser, Sarah Harris Phillips, Louis Piatzik, Myra Edith Rathmel, Mina Rubin, Rachel Rosenthal, Jennifer Rosenstreich, Louis Sachs, Chaim Schnipper, Myron D. Schreibman, Don Siegel, Betty Silverman, Marjorie Sokol, Sandra Gale Sokol, Ethel Wool Solomon, Nathan Solomon, Diane Holzer Steiner, Edith Tanner, Minnie Lazarus Wheel, Barbara Goldstein Weisberg, Marilyn Weller, and Mita Zajic. Our heartfelt condolences in the recent passings of Harold Black, husband of Nancy, father of Kit Roth, grandfather of Drew and Amanda, great-grandfather of Campbell Wheel, Sloan Wheel, Evie, and Charlotte Sokol, Ned Kaheen, husband of Roberta, Barbara Goldstone, wife of Mark Goldstone, Inyun Kim Pini, aunt of Clara Fleissig, Mike May, father of Robin Seal, Marlene Waller, mother of Leah and grandmother of Jenny Kasheshian, Joe Morris, father of Tammy Fleischer, and Donald Herman, husband of Carol. If we didn't recall anyone who's here, someone who's remembering your site or in mourning and you wish to share that name, please do so. We rise together as a united congregation for Martyrs Kaddish 598. Yigadal v'kadash shemei Rabbah, v'yomad yivrach chirotei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomechon, huvkayit to called Beit Yisrael, Magalah uzman kariv yimru, Yehei shmei Rabbah mivarach le'olam olamei maya, Yit barach v'ish jabach v'hit ba'ar v'hit ramam v'hit naseh, v'ita dar v'ita lev v'ita lal, shmei dekudsha, La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damlin ram v'yomah v'yimru, Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimru, amen. Osei shalom b'imromav, hu yasei shalom, aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'yimru, amen. We conclude with, you can do the Osei shalom.
Oseh shalom b'imromav, uyaseh shalom. Aleinu v'yakol Yisrael, ve'imeru, amen.
Yasher koach again to Dr. Daniel Eisen, recently board certified neuro-ophthalmologist. It's a really big deal. And let's conclude with Adon Olam 631.
Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yetzir nivra liyed nasa b'chefso kol azay melech shemod yikra azay melech shemod yikra v'yacharei kiblot hakol levado yimlach nora v'hu hayav v'hu hove v'hu yireh v'tifara v'hu yireh
Good Shabbos. For sure, we'll see you
shalom.
next week.
Thank you all for
I don't
being
think
here.
everyone got the joke. Okay, good Shabbos.